Hi guys, welcome to Church Slavonic Practicum. Today is Great Thursday and we are almost at our Pascha, and because of that I really had to make this video, although it is 10:20 p.m. right now. It's night 10:20 and I worked the whole day and I was super busy, but if I don't do it now, um it's gonna be ruined everything, because we are making we're learning with you some of the Paschal hymns that we're gonna sing on this Pascha, on this Easter, Orthodox Easter, this coming Sunday. And last week we made the video on Ipakoi. So if you missed that video, I really recommend to watch it as soon as possible before the Pascha, so you will know the text of the Ipakoi. And so today we're gonna make a video on the Ikos of Holy Pascha. Let me say a few words. So in hymnography, let me make sure that you see this slide. Yes, you do see this slide. Okay, good. So in hymnography, it is a longer stanza that develops the theme of the Cantacion. Okay, the Ikos. What is the Ikos? It develops the theme of the Cantacion. It is sung during Paschal Matins, Orthos. It comes immediately after the Cantacion. So when you sing Cantacion, then you sing Ikos. The Cantacion gives the main idea or short summary of the events, and the Ikos it expands and explains it in detail. What is the Paschal Ikos about? It proclaims Christ's descent into Hades, his victory over death, the resurrection as universal joy, the calling of all creation to rejoice. So now we get to the Ikos here, and let me read you the meaning of the Ikos in English. Then we're going to get to the Church Slavonic text. And so what I have to tell you is this video is not a entertaining video, and it's not like the regular content that you find on YouTube, because I'm not here creating a content with this video. This video needs hard work, so I need your participation. I need you to work with me, and under the video in the description you will see the link to the Facebook where you can download the printouts, some of the pictures of the texts that we use today, so that you can actually download them, or you can print them right now. Like, you can pause the video, go to the description under the video, click that link to the Facebook, and then print whatever you see on that link and work along with me. That will be the best, because I like, my intention is that we work together, and so you just work with me. Okay, the meaning of Ikos. So the meaning, what they talk about the Ikos, the story is, once the maiden myrrh-bearers, seeking as if it were the light of day, the sun, who is before the sun, and who has set into the tomb, came before the break of dawn and cried out to one another, "O companions, let us go and anoint with spices the body that is buried yet life-bearing, the flesh of him who raised up fallen Adam, now laying in the tomb. Let us go, let us hasten like the Magi, and let us bow down and offer myrrh as gifts to him who is wrapped no longer in swaddling clothes, but in a burial shroud. And let us weep and cry out, O Master, arise, granting resurrection to the fallen. So it maybe sound a little bit like, complicated, like, the words, the structure of the text. But when we're gonna, deep dive and talk about each word and then how they relate to other words in this hymn, then it will make sense to you. Especially, it sounds a little bit complicated in Church Slavonic, but that's why I'm here right now. And this is one of the liturgical translation of this Ikos into English. And it's one of them because there are a few, in English hymnography, they make a few translations. I guess it depends on the translator. Some of them are trying to be shorter and more brief. Some of them are trying to be more close to the original text. So this is one of them that I just picked for, for this video. The myrrh-bearing maidens anticipated the dawn, seeking, as it were day, the sun who was before the sun, and who had sat in the tomb, and they cried out one to another, O friends, come, let us anoint with sweet-smelling spices the life-bringing and buried body, even that flesh which raiseth fallen Adam, who layeth in the grave. Let us go hence, let us make haste like the wise men, and let us adore and offer before him myrrh, as it were a gift to him, who is no longer wrapped in swaddling bands, but in a winding sheet. And let us make lamentation and cry aloud and in exclamation, Arise, O Master, thou who dost grant resurrection to the fallen. All right, now guys, here's the thing. What we're gonna do today, all together with you. So I printed the text to work along with you, and my printer was very weird today, so it actually printed me the whole text like this in 2 pages. It's like, it is very long, like, no, but it works fine. It's good because it's really, you can see it clearly, so it's good for the camera, although it's a little bit broken, so the words are a little bit broken, but you know what, we're gonna work it out. We guys gonna work it out. At least you see everything, and I might make the camera a little bit closer like this. And as always, I have my highlighter. We're gonna highlighting the words. We're gonna learn them. We're gonna get the meaning. So let's start because it's getting late and we have a lot of work to do. Let me show you something. We're gonna start with reading the whole text. Oh my goodness, hold on a second. I switched for myself. I didn't switch for you. Here. Okay. Do you see it good? I don't know. You don't see it really well. Let me do it here. All right. I'm going to read you the whole text first, and then we're going to go word by word with the meanings. Еже прежде солнце зашедшее иногда во гроб предвариша, it's a little bit uncomfortable, ко утру, ищущая, яко дне мироносицы девы и друга ко друзей вопияху. О другини, приидите, вонями помажем тело живоносное и погребенное, плоть воскресившего падшего Адама, лежащую во гробе. Идем подщимся, якоже волсви, и поклонимся и принесем мира. Яко дары не в пеленах, но в плащанице, обвитому и плачем, и возопием: о владыко, восстани, падшим подаяй воскресение. Okay, this is the whole hymn, the whole text. Now, here it is, and we're moving. So we did the English version, now we're moving to the... Okay, first I want you to note that in practice, many English texts of Ikos and Hippakoi, the Hippakoi is another hymn that we covered in the previous video, are very similar or overlapping in Paschal services. So they're either similar or they even overlap them, each other. So in our today's feast, the Paschal feast, today's Ikos actually do not overlap Hippakoi, but it is similar. It is similar. So let's see side by side. You know, I will show you a few differences, and just I want you to also keep in mind something. When I show you the differences, it doesn't mean that I show you that, or I try to mean, I don't mean that any of the language variations of the hymn are superior. So when I'm gonna tell you about the differences in the language, it doesn't mean I want to show you that one language version is superior over another one. I just want you to know the differences. And so if we take the hymn and we see, like, we talk about today's Ikos. Today we talk about the Paschal Ikos. So if we take this Ikos, the text, and we want to see the differences between Church Slavonic text or the English translation or the Greek, and like what are the differences between them? It doesn't mean I want to try to show you that one is better over another one. But Church Slavonic, for example, the phrase in Church Slavonic, the Son, which is Christ, they call Christ the Son in the text, having set into the tomb before the Son. So that's the whole text in Church Slavonic Ikos. When you get the Church Slavonic Ikos, you hear «Еже прежде солнца, солнце зашедшее иногда ко гробу». So you hear that, which means the Son, which is Christ, having set into the tomb before the Son. But in English liturgical translation, it is just before the dawn, which makes sense, right? So they just want to make it a little bit, they just want to simplify it a little bit so that the person actually doesn't become overwhelmed. Because, one thing is, I know Church Slavonic, and when I sing this text, it's kind of, I'm already used to it. But for people who are learning Church Slavonic and trying to understand the meanings of all of these words in the hymn, you can get overwhelmed, really. So before the dawn, right? So the key inside Church Slavonic is deep, has the deep poetic paradox. You hear that they say солнце, прежде солнца солнце зашедшее. So they call him sun before sun. They call the Christ sun before sun. It sounds a little bit like paradox. But in English, it's simplified for clarity, okay? The second, so we just taking those texts and looking for the differences side by side, okay? First, and then we're gonna just go through by each word. The second, the woman at the tomb. So how are they called in this text? The woman at the tomb. In Church Slavonic, they are called мироносицы девы, друга ко друзево пияхо, which we translate the myrrh-bearing maidens cried to one another. In English, we call them Mary and the woman came. So the difference is Church Slavonic preserves maidens as девы, but English generalizes them and calls them women. So the Church Slavonic has kind of like the old archaic word for that. Another difference, the angel's question. So in the Greek version, we hear the angel's question is, why do you seek the living among the dead? Yeah, because when the women came, they were looking for Jesus Christ as if he was dead. They expected to see him in the tomb, and when they looked inside, they didn't find him. So they actually were looking for him among the dead. So that's why the angel asked, why do you seek the living? Because he was alive. He's living. He's alive. Why are you seeking for him among the dead? In Slavonic version, что ищете среди мертвых, яко человека? Which is, why do you seek among the dead as a man? Right? It's kind of the same, right? Among the dead as a man, which is as a human, means as a human. Why are you seeking for him among the dead as if he was just a regular human? And in English version, why do you seek among the dead as though he were a man? So the only difference here is Greek emphasizes the living, Slavonic emphasizes not merely a man, right? I mean, they sound the same, um, almost identical. The only thing is that in the Greek you see that word, the living. Um, the next, the core action. So in Greek, the Greek hymn calls to go, anoint, worship, proclaim resurrection. A Slavonic, which is kind of becomes very rich in this particular. They помажем тело, let us anoint the body, плоть воскресившего падшего Адама, the flesh of him who raised fallen Adam. So, who raised fallen Adam means who raised the humans, because fallen Adam means all of us, people, the humanity. Then, поклонимся, let us worship, возопим, let us cry out. And then let's go, so those are the actions, right? Greek, again, go, anoint, worship, proclaim resurrection. It's like sequence of events, I will say, sequence of actions of events. Slavonic, let us anoint the body, the flesh of him who raised fallen Adam, let us worship, let us cry out. And the English is a little bit softened, usually reduces merges actions into narrative form. So that was the English version. I read it to you. It shortened. It's a shorter one. And so the key differences here is in Slavonic, we have the liturgical participation because it says there, let us. It feels like it's structured. The Church Slavonic hymn is structured as if we are participating. And it's not like as if. The Church Slavonic hymns, all of the hymns of Church Slavonic, they are actually created so that we are all participating in the event. So whenever during any feast we sing any hymn, you should be aware that at singing the hymn, we're actually inside the event. It's happening when we sing the hymn. It is happening. It's really amazing how it works, but it works like this, like, trust me. And so English text is more like descriptive narration. So in English text, we more like just saying what happened, like, we just stating the fact of the event, what happened. But in Slavonic hymn, when we sing Slavonic hymn, we actually participate in that, like, here and now it's happening. We are inside of the events. All right, next, the theological depth. So Slavonic, very explicit. Christ equals life-bearing body, живоносное тело. They call him in the hymn life-bearing body. And resurrection is raising Adam. So it's universal salvation. So in Greek hymn also contains this, but slightly less repetitive structure. So Slavonic text, they kind of like repeat the words. If you're gonna keep studying those hymns with me, you will see how those hymns, the words inside the hymn, they are repeating itself. And so in English text, often English text often simplifies, reduces repetition, removes some participial theology. Okay? And the ending cry. So at the end of the hymn, there was the ending cry. In Slavonic, they said, those women said, "O Владыко, восстани, падшим подаяй воскресение." So in Slavonic, the text says, "O Master, arise, granting resurrection to the fallen." The Greek text has the same structure, and the English is omitted or softened depending on translation. As I told you, there are a few translations, a few variations of translations, and that ending cry either omitted or softened. So let's start. What do we have here? So the final insight for you: the big difference is not meaning but density. So the Greek style is theological poetic. The Slavonic style is highly structured, participial, liturgical, and English is simplified and explanatory. So this is why, I love all of them. I love the theological poetic style of Greek hymns. So when you want to have poetry, theological poetic mood, you want to have some poetry and theology, so you go for the Greek text. When you want to participate, so then you go to the Slavonic text. But when you just want explanation in simple words so that you actually understand what's going on, you get the main idea, then you go to the English text. So it's actually really great to study all of the text. They give different insights. Okay, we go to the now let's go to the text, and let's go to the words. So we're going to start with the first phrase, which is «Еже прежде солнца, солнце зашедшее иногда во гроб». Guys, this is an amazing phrase, I think. Look, «Еже прежде солнца, солнце зашедшее иногда во гроб». I'm going to explain right now what is this. I can show you this first to you, or you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna go here. You see that, right? Еже прежде солнца, солнце зашедшее иногда во гроб. Let's go. Let's see this phrase. So look, first of all, I want to show you two words. Солнце. Let's highlight this word. Солнце and солнце. This is the same word. This is the word sun, солнце, sun. And this is the word sun. Also, солнце, sun. But look, first of all, very important. Do you see this mark? You see this mark? This one? It's a titlo mark. And those of you who watch my lessons know what means titlo mark. It is the abbreviation. It shows that this word is abbreviated. So these are two the same words. Sun and sun. But one sun is not abbreviated. It's the whole word. Солнца. And this one is abbreviated, which is some of the letters are missing. Why? In Church Slavonic, we abbreviate only sacred words. The words that are sacred, that mean something sacred, like the names of God, or the words that describe God, or saints, something holy, something sacred, something or somebody sacred, holy, related to God. So all of these words are sacred words, and they're so sacred that we abbreviate them. And this is why, and when we abbreviate these words in Church Slavonic, we abbreviate the word, and on top of the word we place this titlo mark, and so the reader knows that this is a sacred word. It's abbreviated. And why? So this not abbreviated is just a regular sun, which is the planet sun. Where this one is a sacred sun is the sun in the meaning of Christ. But I'm not saying the son, which is like son as a son or daughter, but the sun as a planet, but in the meaning of Christ. You've got it, guys. It's yes, it's not the sun, which is son of God, but the sun, which is a planet. So those, because son as the child son, like the son or the daughter, in Church Slavonic is not son, it's syn. But Солнце means the planet. So those both words are the planet, sun. Only this means just the planet that's above us. And this means the planet sun, which describes Jesus Christ. Why? Is because he shines so bright, and his light is so bright as if he is the planet sun. Okay? Солнце, say солнце. So солнце is the sun, the planet sun. So we have here солнце. So, еже прежде солнца. What is прежде? Прежде is before. Прежде, before. And that's why we have here this phrase. Let me write it for you. So this is before, but in Church Slavonic, it will sound before sun. So guys, that's how it sounds in Church Slavonic. So in English, we will say sun before the sun. Sun before the sun is this one. So this sun, which is before the sun, is in the meaning of Christ. The sun before the sun as a planet. So the sun, who is before the sun? Who is before the sun? Who is before anyone? Christ. So sun before sun. Now you learned the name of Jesus Christ in Church Slavonic. The name of Jesus Christ in Church Slavonic is sun before sun. Let me read you something here. What I got for you here. Еже прежде солнца. So let me show you this phrase. Еже прежде солнца. Here. Еже прежде солнца. It's the beginning of the hymn. Еже прежде солнца. And then солнце зашедшее иногда во гроб. So let's talk about this phrase. Еже прежде солнца. So what is еже? Ježe means the one, that one, but in the neuter gender. So you remember in Church Slavonic we have 3 genders. Masculine gender. Masculine gender, it doesn't mean this word is in the masculine gender, but it means you use this word with the words that are in masculine gender. Then there is feminine gender, and we have a neuter gender. And guys, if we just go back into the previous lesson and into the previous hymn, which was Hypakoi. In the Hypakoi, we also had this, but we had Yaje. So Yaje is also means the one, but it's in the feminine gender. And then when we use it in the masculine gender, it will be Ije. So Ije, and you should remember this Ije is the beginning of the Lord's Prayer. You remember Lord's Prayer? Our Father. So it starts Отче наш, иже еси на небесех. We say, Our Father, the one that is in the heaven. So, iже is that one, the one. Then яже is that one, the one, but when we talk about the women. Iже is the one, that one, when we talk about the men. So ježe, our ježe, is the one, that one, when we talk about something in neuter gender. And the sun, the planet, is in the neuter gender. That's why so the word, it doesn't mean like somebody who we describe with this word. It's just words are. You know what? We can have a word that describes a woman, but will be used in neuter gender, or like, it's complicated. You don't want to even dive into that right now. So, ježe means the one, then прежде солнца, солнце. So, the one before sun, before the sun. So we're talking about that sun that is before the sun. Okay? Like literally, when we literally translate, it will be translated that sun. And when we have this that, it's like, this ježe shows us that we're talking about one thing that we all know who we talk about, that one. So we're talking about that sun that is before the sun. Okay? Ježe прежде солнца. Let's go to the text. So this phrase, the beginning of the hymn, ježe прежде солнца. So this phrase means that sun, the Christ, that sun that is before the sun. Okay? Next phrase, Let's see. Oh, let me read you this. Еже прежде солнца. The word sun, a characteristic. Oh, I didn't open to you guys. Here, that's what I'm reading. Еже прежде солнца. The word sun, a characteristic verbal symbol of Christ the Savior, who is the Son of righteousness. And so, you know what? Now, if we take the tryparion of the nativity of Christ, so when the Christ was born, during the Christmas, the nativity of Christ, we sing the tryparion, and in that tryparion, he's named the Son of Righteousness. So actually the sun, after the planet Sun, is the name of the Christ in all the hymnography. In all the Slavonic hymnography, Christ is named as a son. So, and as example, the tryparion of Nativity of Christ, he's called the Son of Righteousness. And the uncreated Son, they call him nerukotvorny, uncreated Son, existing before the created earthly luminary. So, because he was before the creation of our world. That's why he's uncreated, existing before. It is precisely Christ, the uncreated, unsetting, unflickering light, who is meant by the sun, which is before the sun. Okay, it means he is the sun who was before the creation of the planet Sun. Okay, the relative pronoun jeże. Okay, I just talked to you about this jeże pronoun. Here functions as a definite article. So it's definite article, the one, that one. This image occurs quite frequently in hymnographic compositions. For example, in a Theotokion from the canon at Matins of the seventh tone. And we ring the you, or birth giver of God, gave birth. And literally, in that hymn, we sing having shown forth. So when she, Theotokos, in her hymn, when we sing in the Theotokian hymn, when we sing how she gave birth, we sing it literally in Church Slavonic. We say having shown forth, like shown from the word shine, like the sun shines, and she during the process of giving birth, she was shining. So we sing that she shone forth to the world, the light who is before the sun. That's what we sing there. The light who is before the sun, Christ, who has delivered from darkness and enlightens with the knowledge of God all who cry out, "Blessed are you, O God of our fathers." Okay, guys? So when we just take different hymns, and we see over and over in different hymns, but you hear that all about the shining and all about the sun before the sun. Thus, as in many other cases, the key to understanding a hymnographic text is not knowledge of the Church Slavonic language, its grammar and vocabulary, but extra-linguistic factors, knowledge of dogmatics, and above all, a person's overall churchliness, familiarity with other liturgical texts, in which the same image is repeated many times, literally word for word, often being explained at the same time through exegetical interpretation within the liturgical text itself. So, which means, you just need this churchliness, which means when you just keep going again and again, again and again to the church, and the church calendar cycle, the church year, the cycle, liturgical year, it repeats every year. And so then every year you repeat these feasts and you sing the same hymns over and over throughout the church year circle. It's actually not a circle, it's a spiral, because every year you start over and you go back to the same hymn that you were singing last year. This year you discover something new. It's not the same every year, guys. It's like a spiral which you you go up with that spiral. Every year it's the same as circle, but when you repeat the circle over and over and over, you grow. You spiritually grow. Every time you rediscover, open new layers, and so you grow. So that's why it's good to to repeat it every time. That's what it says about churchliness, familiarity. So you become familiar with those texts, you repeat them over and over, and that's how you grow with them. So we go to the next phrase, right? Because what we talked about еже прежде солнце, oh, we didn't finish, зашедшее иногда во гроб. So let's go. Зашедшее иногда во гроб. Let me show this here. Where is it? Here. So we move our text and we get it here. It's a little bit cut off, but we're gonna figure it out. So this is she. This is the letter she. This is she. Okay? I should do this maybe. Something like that. Yeah, this works. Like this. Yes, this is she. So we go зашедшее. Зашедшее, it came, went inside. Like, came inside, went inside, got inside, got inside. The best is got inside. Зашедшее иногда, like some, when, like, once upon a time, like something like that, like once it went inside vo, inside, this is vo, inside, went inside grob, tomb. So because when he was killed, they put him inside the tomb. So here we says the one, that son, before son, that once got into the tomb. Okay? Иногда во гроб. Гроб is like the tomb, or like casket, we also say in Russian. In Russian, it's casket, but in Church Slavonic, it's also иногда во. So now we get this whole phrase. We say that son before son that once got into the tomb. And let me see what else in this page. That's it. Next phrase. We talk about the woman. Мироносицы девы, ищущие яко дне, еже прежде солнца солнце, зашедшее иногда во гроб. So, look, here we just changed a little bit the words in the Church Slavonic text to show you the meaning. But I'm going to show you how it is in the literal text. But the meaning, what we are singing about in the beginning, when we start the hymn, what we sing about is once the myrrh-bearing maidens, seeking as though for daylight, but literally we say as for the day. The meaning is for daylight, but literally it's there as for the day. So seeking as for the day, the sun, who is before the sun and having set into the tomb. Okay, now let me show you. Let's talk about these two words. The word ищущая means seeking, and it comes from the verb to seek, and to seek искати. Искати, to seek. Ищущая, seeking. And the word иногда means once, at one time, formally, denotes an indefinite time in the past, often used in elevated or narrative style, as in hymnography. And this, the first thing comes into the mind right away is once upon a time. Right, guys? Does it come to your mind right away? Once upon a time? So that's exactly the meaning of the word inogda. Inogda, like once. At one time formally. Denotes an indefinite time in the past. Once upon a time. So, inogda. And ищущая, seeking. So let me show you now that. Or let's go to the next one. Предвариша, yeah. Let's talk about this one first. Предвариша ко утру. So предвариша ко утру means they came before dawn. It's the same thing as we sing in the Ipakoi. Remember, you really should watch that video also, because you're gonna be singing this in the feast liturgy anyways, and you're gonna sing it a lot of times. And during the week, the Holy Week, we sing it every day. So I suggest you watch it. And so in this Ipakoi, we also sing that they came before dawn. They came before dawn, the women, right? And so here, same thing. Here. Предвариша ко утру. Предвариша ко утру. They came before dawn. Предварите. Предварите is to anticipate, to foretell, to go before something, to precede. So предварите, to come before. And they предвариша. So предварите is the infinitive. And предвариша is the past tense of the same word, предварите. So they came before dawn. Ko utru, before dawn, before morning. Ko utru, like before the morning. And we say it in English, before dawn. And this is the epakoi, actually. This is from ipakoi. Предварившия утро, я же о Марии. Watch that video about the ipakoi. Having anticipated the dawn, that is having come before dawn. I talk there about it a lot. So it's the same, right? It's very similar. And we'll get back to this. Let's go here. So we talked about the sun that is before sun and that got into the tomb, right? And now предвариша ко утру ищущая яко дне мироносицы девы. Okay? What is this? What are we talking about? Предвариша ко утру, which means they came before the dawn, right? We just talked about this phrase. Let us highlight it. Предвариша, which is they came before. Предвариша. They came before what? The dawn. Ко утру, the dawn, okay? Предвариша ко утру. Предвариша ко утру came before dawn. Now, who came before dawn? Ищущая яко дне мироносицы девы. Ищущая, searching. Searching like for the day. Where do we have it here? Here. Seeking as though for daylight, or literally as for the day. So seeking as for the day. Let me see, where is that? Gosh, what am I doing? Here. So, ищущая, seeking, ищущая, seeking, ищущая, яко, like, for the day. Ищущая, яко дне. Seeking, like for the daylight, they say, right? Мироносицы девы. So the мироносицы девы is that, how we say that in English? Myrrh-bearing maids. I'm not that good in English. Мироносицы. Let me read it for you. Девы. Мироносицы девы. Look. Miro. And then носицы, carrying. So, myrrh-bearing. This is myrrh-bearing, one word. The O in between. You guys remember, right? Those of you who watch my videos regularly know I talked a lot that in Church Slavonic, when there are two words, a lot of time 2 words are connected with this O. So there are 2 words. Mir, which is mirror, and then nositsi, bearing, and then we have o in between, and it comes myrrh-bearing. Okay, myrrh-bearing. Myrrh-bearing. This is this word. The myrrh-bearing maidens. The myrrh-bearing maidens. Девы. Maidens. Девы. Maidens. All right? So, мироносицы девы, they came before the dawn, looking as for the daylight. And then и друга ко друзей вопияху. Guys, again. И друга ко друзей вопияху, which means and one to another crying. So they started crying or screaming or proclaiming one to another. So what happened? Иногда. Remember, this иногда is the once upon a time. So once upon a time, the sun that is before the sun that got into the tomb and then the next kind of like the transition. Then we're talking about предвариша came before the dawn, looking as for day, the myrrh-bearing maidens. Now let me see how we connect those meanings in English. Once the myrrh-bearing maidens seeking as though for daylight, the sun who is before the sun and having set into the tomb. This is really amazing how it is translated, because that's the only way to translate it. So guys, to be able to translate the meaning into English, you have start from the end of this phrase. So we actually start from the end, that the myrrh-bearing maidens, once seeking as though for daylight, the sun who is before sun and having set into the tomb. Do you see how we actually translate this from the end? Right? We actually translate the phrase from the end. Once the myrrh-bearing maidens, seeking as though for daylight, the sun who is before the sun and having set into the tomb. Now, let's see it again. The sun that is before sun, even literally it will be the before sun. Like, if I say it in Church Slavonic, it sounds like this. The one before sun that came once into the tomb, then came before the morning looking as for they, myrrh-bearing maidens. So if you will take Church Slavonic text and just translate each word, like, you take the Church Slavonic text and then you write on top of the word, each of the word translation, you will not get the meaning. To get the correct meaning, you have to start to translate from the end of the phrase. Мироносицы девы, the myrrh-bearing maidens. It's like the end of this phrase. If I cut the whole sentence into short segments, into phrases, if I, let's say, break it here and want to translate everything from the beginning up to here, I have to start the English translation, not from the beginning, but from the end. I go from here. The myrrh-bearing maidens once, like, looking for as they, the son before son that got into the tomb. Like, you see how it is? So you've got it. We've got the whole first phrase. We went through this. Let's go. Let's move. И друга ко друзей вопияху. So the one to another cried. Let's highlight it. We got through this. And and друга, like one. Ко, two. Друзей, another, like one to the other. Друзей. Вопияху, cried. Вопияху, cried. All right, let me read it for you. И друга ко друзей вопияху. And one to the other cried. Okay, now we're gonna read what they cried to each other. Let me first see what we've got here, to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, we got this, and we're moving. Друга ко друзей, one to another. Вопияху, they were crying out. They were exclaiming. It's imperfect third person plural. Third person plural. And it comes from the verb to cry out, to call aloud, вопите. Okay, so the infinitive to cry out or to call out will be вопите, вопите. And then the imperfect third person plural will be вопияху. They were crying out. Вопияху. Вопияху, crying out one to another. Друга ко друзей. So we go вопияху друга ко друзей. So they cried one to another. Let's see what they cried. I don't have it here. So let's get the text. O is O. О другини. О другини. So о другини and then exclamation mark. О другини, like oh friends. O is like oh. Like oh friends or oh companions. Like they were all companions to each other or friends to each other. So they go о другини, exclamation mark. о другине, о friends. Приидите, which is come. Приидите. Let me make it closer, like this. Приидите, come. Oh friends, come. Приидите. Oh friends, come. Вонями помажем. What is вонями помажем? Вонями is something that smells, like the spices, okay? Вонями, the something that smells good. Вонями, with the spices. Помажем means let's rub. Like, for example, when I take a cream and I rub it into my skin, so that is помажем. When you rub something with something, that's помажем. So they say вонями with the spices, помажем, which means let's rub. Тело, body, the body. So they're gonna rub, cover the body with the spices, with the oils, probably also, like, it were oils with the spices that smell really good. Like we have essential oils right now. Maybe something like essential oils, but we don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. So voнями with the spices, помажем, let's rub, тело, body, тело, body. And now here, живоносное, живоносное, life caring. Again, two words connected with o. Here's one word, жив. Жив means life. Nos means to carry. So this ending means ing, like носное, carrying. So жив is life, носное, carrying. Or is something that connects two words. It connects two words. So now we have here живоносное. What is живоносное? Life carrying. Тело, body. So they said, let's take the spices and rub the body, the life carrying body, which is like the living body, a live body. Тело живоносное. So in English we say life care. How they translate it into English? Where do I have that translation? Let me see how we translate it into English. Like the official proper translation is: the myrrh-bearing maidens anticipated the dawn, seeking as it were day the son who was before the sun and who had sat in the tomb, and they cried out one to another, "O friends, come, let us anoint." Okay, that's called anoint. The rub, I said rub. Anoint with sweet smelling spices. There's no sweet smelling word there, but we have only the word voнями, and voнями means just something that smells. Okay, so with sweet smelling spices, the life-bringing. Nosnoye. Oh yeah, bringing can be, yeah, carrying, I say, but yeah, life-bringing and buried body. The life-bringing, let me remember it, how they say it. Life-bringing. Okay, so in English we say life-bringing body, but in Church Slavonic, the body is before life-bringing. So we say, and anoint, like, you know, the sweet smelling spices, and anoint body, life-bringing, and buried. Pogrebennoye. Pogrebennoye means buried. Let me highlight it. We covered this word. Pogrebennoye. E means end. E end. Okay. So, pogrebennoye. Buried. So in English we say life-bringing and buried body, but in Church Slavonic we say body, tielo. We first say body, tielo. Here, tielo. Живоносное и погребенное. So we say here body, life-bringing, and buried. Okay? Живоносное и погребенное. And now we say, we have here плоть воскресившего падшего Адама. Let me put it the way that you can see the whole text. Okay? Плоть, the flesh. So the flesh in English is плоть. So we have two words here. Body, which is тело, and now we have плоть, which is flesh. And let me move it more. Ah, gosh, it's a little bit. It's a little bit. Okay. Плоть, flesh, воскресившего. Воскресившего is raised. Like, you know, gave reason. How do they use it in translation? Which raiseth. Okay, that's the form. Which raiseth. Flesh which raiseth fallen Adam. So look, let us anoint with sweet smelling spices the life-bringing and buried body, even that flesh which raiseth fallen Adam. Here. Плоть. Oh, I didn't open for you. Here. Плоть воскресившего. Воскресившего is, what is it? Raiseth. Okay. Flesh which raiseth fallen Adam. Fallen is падшего. So raiseth. That's the form. Воскресившего. It's like, you know, воскресившего. It's from the word воскрес. Look, I'll show you the root. This is the root. Воскрес. What we say during the Easter, during the Pascha, Easter, what do we say? Христос воскресе. Christ is risen. So, воскрес, risen. Воскресение, resurrection. Воскресение, resurrection. And so, воскресившего, raiseth. All right? Raiseth. Падшего Адама. Падшего, fallen, падшего Adama, Adam. Падшего Adama. Падшего Adama means all of us, all of the humans. Like the whole human, how we say that? Humankind? Whatever. All the humans. Paschal Adama. So Adam is the humanity, the meaning of humanity. So fallen Adam, Paschal Adama. So воскресившего падшего Адама, raiseth fallen Adam. Now, лежащую во гробе. This is the one that is laying in the tomb. Here they're talking about, how do I do it? I will first do this. Лежащую во гробе, it means which is laying in the grave, okay, in the tomb, which is laying in the tomb. What are we talking about? We're talking about that flesh or that body that they were saying, let's anoint with the spices. So let's anoint with the spices that body, and then they have a lot of description what that body, the body is life-bringing, the body is buried, the body or the flesh that raised the fallen Adam and is laying in the grave right now. Лежащую, that's the form of what's happening right now. So right now, it is laying in the grave, in the tomb. Лежащую во гробе. So you've got it, right? You understand what is laying in the grave. It's that body and flesh that they want to rub, to anoint with the spices. All right, so we went through half of it, right? Let me show you. Let's see. The myrrh-bearing maidens anticipated the dawn, seeking as it were day the sun who was before the sun and who had sat in the tomb, and they cried out one to another, "O friends, come, let us anoint with sweet-smelling spices the life-bringing and buried body, even that flesh which raiseth fallen Adam, who layeth in the grave." I'm trying right now to figure out, is it the fallen Adam who layeth in the grave? Actually, лежащую. Hold on a second. Плоть воскресившего падшего Адама, лежащую во гробе. It's actually, I'm confused. Isn't we talking about the flesh of Adam who layeth in the grave? Guys, seriously, just give me 1 second. Let me just check it. Let me see if I can really quick see some description. The commentary for this text. So помажем тело, живоносную погребенную плоть, скресившего под годам лежащую в гробе. 1 second, I think I'm finding it. The flesh of who? The flesh of Christ. Well, you know what? In the commentary, they say that the flesh is of Christ. And that's what we figured out, that the flesh is of Christ. But then the fallen is Adam, and the Adam was raised, so that's the flesh of the Christ that raised the fallen Adam. But they're not talking about, no, they don't, there's no commentary about лежащую в гробе. Well, hold on a second. Okay. Yes, that's it. Лежащую в гробе, it's the flesh and the flesh of the Christ. That's it. So the flesh of the Christ is actually in the grave. Okay. That's it. So let me read that again. Oh, friends, come, let us anoint with sweet-smelling spices the life-bringing and buried body, even that flesh which raiseth fallen Adam, who layeth in the grave. Gosh, I got it. You know, when I read this English translation, it confused me because with the word flesh doesn't sound right in the relation to the word who. The flesh, I will write that layeth in the grave. Guys, seriously, look, I will say, if I will be translating it, I would translate the flesh which raiseth fallen Adam, that layeth in the grave. But because they wrote who layeth in the grave, I got confused. Are we talking about the Adam who layeth in the grave? But in the Church Slavonic text, you realize that it's the flesh. That's why when I was talking about, gosh, this is so cool when you can just actually work with a few texts, and if you are confused with something, you can actually, see the other text. What am I doing here? Yeah, because when I was talking to you in the Church Slavonic text, I told you that лежащую во гробе, the one that is laying in the grave, is that flesh that they are talking about, they want to rub with the spices or anoint, and they want to anoint. But when they said raiseth fallen Adam, where is it? Who layeth in the grave? I was like, are they talking about Adam who layeth in the grave? No, they're talking about the flesh and the body of Jesus Christ that layeth in the grave. Okay, let's move. Let's move. I said let's move, and I read the word idiom. Idiom means let's move. But it's let's go. Let's go. Let's move. Let's go. Let's go. Idiom. Okay, idiom, they say, which is in English translation. Where is my English translation? So in English translation, we have it here. Let us go hence. Let us make haste, like the wise man. Идем, отщимся, яко же волсви. All right, let's go to this. Here. Идем. It's actually, I say it's in English. I'm sorry, I'm using Russian. It's not idiom. In Church Slavonic, it's idiom. And only idiom. It's not idiom. Idiom is Russian. It's already 12. Midnight. It's already midnight, so I'm sleeping. I mean, I'm not sleeping, but idiom. So idiom, which is let's go. Let me see what I have here. All right. Oh, you know what? Oh my goodness, I have this for you. I translated this. I already forgot about what I translated. Understanding the meaning of this phrase about that, what I just said about the flesh and the body and the Adam that is in the grave. So understanding the meaning of this phrase is aided by Church Slavonic orthography, according to its rules finally established in the 17th century. Adjectives, pronouns, and participles in the genitive case are written with omega or at the end, while in the accusative case they are written with on or. So look on top, you see this phrase in Church Slavonic, and you see воскресившего is with omega in the end, and it's highlighted with the yellow. And then Paschal is with o at the end, which is highlighted. And this grammar shows us that the word воскресившего, raised, stands in the genitive case, the flesh of whom, the genitive of whom, of the one who raised, that is the Christ. So the flesh is of the Christ. As the adjective patshago, fallen, agrees with the word Adama in the accusative case, that is, raised whom, raised fallen Adam. So that's why, yes, everything is correct what I said about this translation. And so the only thing is that as I said in the English text, if instead of who it will be that, I think it will be a little bit more sense. I got confused because it was who. It was like Adam who is laying in the grave. So it's not Adam who is laying in the grave. It's the flesh who is laying in the grave. But if they wrote that will be much better. The flesh that raised Adam, that is laying in the grave. The flesh is laying in the grave. I mean, the women, when they came there, they expected to see that flesh in the grave. They didn't find that flesh in the grave, but they expected to find him in the grave. That's why they brought the spices to rub that body, to anoint that flesh. Okay, so we have some other words here we're going to talk about. Подщимся. That's what they were talking about, and we will right now get into that word. So подщимся means let us hurry. Подщимся, let us hurry. Then плачем, возопиим. They say плачем, возопиим. Let us weep, let us cry out. Verbs in the imperative mood, meaning let us weep, let us cry out. And then podayai, which is giving, granting. Present active participle, full form, masculine gender, singular nominative case. And we're gonna get there right now. Let's open the text. Here we go. And let's have these words. All right. Let me see. So I said idem. Idem means let's go. But they say idem подщимся. That's the подщимся that I showed you. Let us hurry, right? So they said, what they said to each other. These women, they told each other. They said, idem, let's go. Then подщимся, let us hurry. They said, let us hurry. Hurry. Let us hurry. Let's go. Let us hurry. Якоже волсві. And then here, this is interesting. Якоже волсві и поклонимся и принесем мира како дары. All right? Let's see again. Якоже волсві и поклонимся и принесем мира яко дары. So, let's talk about this word волсві. Волсві. So, волсві is the magi. Remember those magi who came when Jesus was born? They came to bow to Jesus, the magi. So this is the word, volsvi. So they say, the women say, let's go, be hurry, that let's, Yakuji means like. Yakuji means like. So they say, like Maggie. Bow and bring the gifts. So the women tell to each other that let's go, let's run, let's hurry. And like the Magi, let's bow and bring the gifts. So the gifts, they say, mira jako dary. So mira, the myrrh, as presents, as gifts. So they said, e means and. So they say, And so let's and bow and bring gifts. So и поклонимся, bow, поклонимся, and bow, and bring, и принесем, принесем, и принесем, and bring. And bring what? Bring what? Bring mira, jako dary. Mira jako dary, the myrrh as gifts. So the myrrh as gifts. Mira jako dary. And then says here, не в пеленах, но в плащанице обвитому. Let's see how they translate it. Let's see how is it translated. So let us go hence, let us make haste like the wise man, and let us adore and offer before him myrrh, as it were a gift to him, who is no longer wrapped in swaddling bands, but in a winding sheet. So that плащаница, winding sheet. Let me see how else I did the meaning here. Let us go, let us hasten like the Magi, and let us bow down. I like this more. Let us bow down and offer myrrh as gifts to him who is wrapped no longer in swaddling clothes, but in a burial shroud. I like it more. In a burial shroud. That's the thing. All right. So they said that let's go bow and bring the myrrh as gifts to whom? Now they talk about for whom? For не в пеленах, not in the wrapped in the swaddling. How they say that? Let me see. Swaddling clothes, but in a burial shroud. So pelenach is those swaddling clothes or burial clothes. When they bury, they put somebody in grave. They put them in that pelenach, не в пеленах, не в пеленах, не в пеленах, но в плащанице. This плащанице. Плащанице is burial shroud. Shroud. Okay. Not in the swaddling clothes. Не в пеленах. Not in the swaddling clothes. Не, not in the pelenach. Those are the whatever swaddling clothes. But no v. But in плащанице. Плащанице. That is burial shroud. And the word obvitomu is wrapped. Okay, obvitomu. So wrapped in that плащанице. Плащанице obvitomu. And then и плачем. И плачем. Guys, these are two words. What they gonna... И плачем, и возопим. Let's read them both. Here, look. И плачем, и возопим. My dog is trying to get into the door. My dog is probably like, oh, what is she doing so late? Okay, yeah. И плачем, и возопим. So, и плачем, и возопим. Let us weep and cry out. So, yeah. Ooh. Let me see if I have any. Here. Плачем, возопим. Weep and cry out. Yes. Плачем. Weep, возопим, cry out. So this. Yeah, it was here. Плачем. Плачем, возопим. Плачем, возопим. Weep and cry out. Which is here. Плачем и возопим. And so what did they cry out? And here the words. These are, see, the words. O Vladyko, O Vladyko, O Master. O Vladyko. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm not showing it to you like this. O Vladyko. O Vladyko, O Master. Guys, again, Vladyko, abbreviated. You see this de on top? That's one of the letters that's been abbreviated. There's a few letters that are abbreviated, and one of them is written on top to give us a hint. Vladyko, O Vladyko, O Master. Vostani, 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 get up. They were crying out. That's what they were crying out. Crying out, возопим. O Master, O Vladyko, get up. Vostani, Vostani. And then what else did they cry to him? Падшим подаяй воскресение. You should know these words already. Look. Падшим is the same as here. Paschal. Look, they look the same. I hope I could show them both at the same time. I don't think so. Maybe I can. Paschal. Paschal. Do they both get? Yes. Look. This is Paschal Adama. Paschal Adama, which is fallen Adam. And this is Padshim. Fallen. But two fallen. That's like those endings, this ending, and then this ending, these two endings indicate that there's two, like two. Two fallen. Podayai. Podayai means give. 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 Two fallen. Give. And now this word. Воскресение. Guys, we just saw this. Look. Воскресившего raiseth. Raiseth fallen Adam. Воскресившего падшего Адама. Воскресившего падшего Адама raiseth fallen Adam. And then воскресение. I told you, воскресение. It's the same stem. Воскрес. Воскресение is resurrection. Воскресение. So it says here, to fallen, give resurrection. That's what they cried to him. Like, get up and give resurrection to the fallen. Here, let's get the text. Here. Here. Возопием, they cried out. Возопием, they cried out. O Vladyko, O Master, восстань, raise, like raise, get up, give the resurrection to the fallen, падшим, to the fallen, подаяй, give, воскресение, resurrection. All right, guys, I hope you actually understood. I hope it wasn't that complicated. Let me see some of the words. Okay, guys, and this is the summary. Еже прежде солнца, солнце зашедшее иногда ко гробу, the sun which before the sun once set into the tomb, предварившая утро, having come before the dawn, ищущая яко дне мироносицы девы, the myrrh-bearing maidens seeking as if by day, другако друзево пияху, cried one to another, о другини, приидите, вонями помажем тело, о friends, come, let us anoint with spices the body, живоносное и погребенное, life-bearing and buried, плоть воскресившего падшего Адама, the flesh of him who raised fallen Adam, лежащую в гробе, laying in the tomb, or lying in the tomb, идем подшимся, яко же волсви, let us go, let us hasten like the magi, и поклонимся, and let us worship, which is like let us bow, и принесем мира яко дары, and let us bring myrrh as gifts, не в пеленах, но в плащанице обвитому, not in swaddling clothes, but in a winding sheet to the one wrapped. И плачем, и возопием, and let us weep, and let us cry out, O Владыко, восстань, O Master, arise, падшим подаяй воскресение, granting resurrection to the fallen. Guys, so I want to tell you just one thing. Христос воскресе. Christ is risen, and just have a great Pascha feast. And yeah, just come back to this channel. I made a long video and I hope it will help you. And thank you. And yeah, happy feast. Happy Easter. Happy Pascha. Христос воскресе. Christ is risen. Thank you.